Hello everyone, I'm Bro Misra. Welcome to the June update for KDM. Right before the holiday, we got it here on July 3rd. So lots of stuff to talk about. Got more Q&A questions and stuff. So let's go ahead and look at it. So we have Frog Dog Fulfillment, where our shipping hubs are all still shipping to backers, rewards, and our support team has been breaking records with their response time and quickly taking care of fulfillment needs. At this point in time, it looks like we are almost done with fulfillment of every region except for EU and some stragglers in the UK. If you have an issue that you think we can help with, please reach out and let's take care of you. So, this is from what I've seen, so this means Frog Dog not on the shop yet. They're going to wait till they fulfill to all backers. I saw there was a comment made about that, specifically being that Frog Dog won't be added until they get the majority of backers. Then it will go up to the shop. I don't know if it will be on the shop at the end of July, because they'll be at Gen Con when the update hits. I assume, maybe not the day of when the update launches, but I would assume it won't be the end of July either. So looking like probably August is when Frog Dog will go on the Gen Con, or after Gen Con update. During that update is when Frog Dog will go on sale. Maybe they'll have Frog Dog at Gen Con. I'm sure they'll probably have some Black Knights and stuff. So that's just what it is. Maybe they'll be there, maybe they won't, but I wouldn't expect Frog Dog this month either. So we have Morg and Morgan. So Morg was a sim exclusive up until now. Indomitable Survivor. So now Morg has art. Looks amazing. Morg was the first enhanced survivor to make his way to the Dwelling Kingdom Death Simulator. The Dark Office used his release to experiment with weapon swapping and add model gear in their gear grid based on that. So the way it works is I've played in Sim, I've streamed Sim and stuff, but basically they're assigned to a type usually. I think Lenore can use katars. Morg was using axes. Someone else is also using axes. Or was she using spears? The antelope one was using spears. But yeah, they're assigned a weapon type, and then any of that type you could affix to their hands. So that's what that means. For his physical release, we created a pretty special piece of artwork for him. Oh, and here's a little GIF to show off his weapon swapping. So there's the weapon swapping. I believe the physical release comes with multiple axes. Small feature, bit of a milestone for the project as the team started to push the boundaries on what a digital board game experience could be like. With the sandbox layer of experience in a stable place, it is opening up room for us to think about how a tabletop experience translates to a game client and how to improve that without losing the board game feeling that we treasure so much. Over 7,000 dwellers, so this is Morgan the Savior, added for all Master Key holders. This was actually added yesterday when the patch went live. But yeah, I can confirm it is there for everybody. This is included if you're of a dwelling Master Key, so you all just get Morgan there. At this point, we have reached over 7,000 users, and the servers are constantly running games. We're sharing our appreciation by upgrading the Master Key suite by adding Savior Morgan so that Master Key holders can try out the enhanced survivor-related features like weapon swapping, move, dash, and the automated attack beta. I don't know if she is also assigned to a weapon type, probably like dagger or something. I don't know if Morgan swaps it out, but I'm assuming she does because it says like weapon swapping. So I haven't tried it, but I know she's there. I opened it up. I wanted to make sure she was there. She was actually there yesterday. That's how I actually learned that Skrell was added yesterday because she was in the past notes. So Skrell is also added to the sim. So then there's Dark Treasury Beta. Dark Treasury has seen continued development, bug fixes, and tweaks. all thanks to our little beta period and the incredible and very helpful people that signed up to use it. The devs on that project offer a big thank you to the feedback and patience. Now that we have proof of concept, Treasury works, with this current shipping wave. Can't wait for us to extend both access and functionality in the future. I was not part of the beta because I assumed you would have to test it out by holding something back or not having something shipped to you, and I just wanted to have everything shipped to me right away, so I did not enter the beta. So I can't speak much to the Dark Treasury. I know people use it. I know how it works, kind of, because people have talked to me about it, but it does seem like you can add freely to bulk your shipping together to lower shipping costs. It did seem to work, so people were mentioning that. Painting contest judging. Speaking of things I'd like to implement into the Dark Treasury, painting contest prizes. As we are still in our testing period, I don't think Treasury enrollment is widespread enough for us to place prizes into the Dark Treasury this time around, but I look forward to seeing it if it will be possible for our next competition. For now, our Dark Judges are currently hard at work judging all the wonderful entries that everyone has submitted for our Gamers Chess painting contest. We could not be more impressed with the talent and dedication showcased by the community. We want to make sure that each entry has their full attention, so we are not quite ready to announce the winners just yet, but I do have a preview from the Dark Bank of the new King's Coin that all winners and runners-up will be receiving this time around. So, very neat. Gambler with paint brush. Paint spilling out, I'm assuming, is what that is, and then the crock. So very neat of the new coin. Once the Dark Judges are ready to render their judgment, we'll make an announcement of the winners, so online gallery for the contest. So, development, Red Witches. Really getting into the nitty-gritty of our final art orders with Red Witches. It's always so cool to see the personalities of the witches show through in their art. The artist just cleared through a large swath of key art, which is an important component in giving our rulebooks and trait cards their character and flair. So, this looks like Brawl here. I'm assuming you're going to target the closest, or knock down, you'll move adjacent. Someone's knocked down, survivor, and then they're going to gain some, like, bleed tokens. The monster will gain bleed tokens. Probably the survivor as well will gain bleed tokens. So it looks like this looks like a trait, possibly a rulebook thing, like was said. Parasite Queen on the table. Another recent focus of our playtest team has been the Parasite Queen. Not keen on sharing any specifics of this monster until the expansion is in the hands of the public, but I'm glad to report that we were able to recently clean up a fairly finicky major mechanic into a much more concise and compelling nugget. Anna and I also had some great conversations on the niche that the Parasite Queen occupies in the ecosystem of Kingdom Death. Parasite Queen was always going to be a monster with far-reaching ecological consequences because of all the places it has its hands in. Pun intended. It will be enlightening to explore the full extent of what that means. Pretty sure Parasite Queen is still a Node 3 Nemesis, perhaps. I think that's what it was said it was going to be. Or no, Parasite Queen's a finale for Screaming God. That's what it is. I was thinking of the one that was with B. My bad. The one with B is a Node 3, which is the Honeycomb Weaver. She's the Node 3. Parasite Queen is a special finale added at the end of Screaming God, which was meant to... So the current wave we're waiting for is Screaming God, Red Witches, and Pariah, along with the Wanderers. That's the current next release schedule. That's what's on the docket right now. Supposed to be by the end of the year. We'll see. Wanderers, Candy and Cola. Last month, we started our major push, our art push on Candy and Cola, and I'm happy to say that we have since wrapped up artwork orders for the Wanderer. Really love the blend pastel colors associated with Candy's character alongside with traditional KD color schemes that our artists incorporate into each piece. I think it really fits the story we have decided to tell with this Wanderer. Worked with the talented Ein Lee for this project. I think that's how you say that. Perfect fit as she worked on the Soda Pop projects in the past. Story is overall bittersweet but hopeful. Probably means Candy dies. But hopeful about how she goes out, but I'm assuming she dies. Thomas David and Jacques Alexandre Gilos, I'm assuming, sculpted many of the early Relic Knight miniatures. This project is special to us as fellow creators, and we want to do it right. So this is Canning Cola. This is the art where they're sitting around like a fire. Oh yeah, this is the bigger version of the art. So, and then this art here is of some Relic Knight minis. It's Princess. Someone helped me identify these. I identified one of them. It's Princess. So one of them is Sebastian Cross, Princess Mila, and the sniper is Rin Farah. So I guess those are all Relic Knights. I don't think there's any kind of like attachment to candy specifically. Not from the person who helped me find these. So, and I don't know lore of Relic Knights, but I'm assuming they're probably attached to the sculptors here. Maybe they're the other ones that these sculptors also made. The Thomas David and Gil sculpted many of the early Relic. So maybe that's them. Maybe these are their miniatures, so that's why they got art. Makes sense if that's the case, but there you go. Endeavors on the Sim. KDM's, or the KD Sim team, continues to remain hard at work, squashing bugs, stabilizing performance, and adding automation to the dwelling. So like I said, the patch actually came out yesterday, so I was able to mess around with this, so I don't need to really read all of this. Skrull was added. Skrull's an amazing white box. Like, of all the white boxes, Skrull's a great one to add. I tested this Endeavor thing. Interesting. Kind of goes a little bit fast. The bar, basically what you do is you pick up an Endeavor, hold it over the one innovation you want to use, and then it just rolls a dice. It doesn't really do any of the bookkeeping. I know the Intimacy one does a little bit more. You select the survivors themselves who are doing the Intimacy. This one doesn't. It just rolls a dice. You just take it. It does also remove the Endeavor cost. So that's nice. You lose the Endeavor for it, but it just rolls dice. And there's Skrull, so yeah, tested all this stuff out. It's good. Where's the... Yeah, so you just move it over, and then it just rolls the dice. And then I didn't get to test out the Fig Tree one because when I was playing with it, Skrull wasn't on the shop, so... But there it is. Skrull's a great one. Golden surprises at Gen Con. I can scarcely believe it. We were just 30 days out from Gen Con. The team has been hard at work sending everyone we'll need to the trade show to Indianapolis for both our exhibition hall and our sanctioned play space. So yes, there was events that you could pay for actual KDM officiated game mastered events. They're an hour and a half a piece, and they're every 2 hours from 10 to 6 p.m. Thursday through Saturday. So they're all sold out now, but those are all the times. There's an Ark Survivor settlement, a regular settlement, and then at 6 p.m. On each of the days, there's a special one event. So there'll be only 3 of those events run. So yeah, I'll be there, and I have tickets for stuff, so hopefully I'll be able to do some recording of all that stuff. But the Gen Con listing did say it came with a mini, because you paid your price and you got a gift bag, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is part of the gift bag. So plenty of surprises in stores here. I'm sure it'll be like a pencil, a dice, something, and then a gift bag that you're all going to see. And then here's this, which I already read once. See if I can do it again. Reading this out loud. 1 smart fellow, he felt smart. 2 smart fellows, they both felt smart. 3 smart fellows, they all felt smart. Blah ha 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 ha. So, there's that. I know last time, there was 2 or 3 updates ago, there was 3 titles for YouTube videos. I've used one of them so far. When I do the prologue for Frog Dog, I'll use the second of the 3 as the video suggested. But of the 3 that were suggested for that update, I've used one of them already. The Frog Dog prologue will be the other one that was suggested. I don't know how I'm using the third one, but I'll figure it out. So here's our questions. These are pretty straightforward questions this time. Some good answers in here. So, in November, the Black Friday update, you showed off examples of campaign cards. A People of the Lantern Foretold campaign and a People of the Sun Divergent campaign. Is there a Divergent version of People of the Lantern campaign card? That's one. Two, is there a way to add Node 4 monsters to either campaign, especially in People of the Lantern campaign, since it goes longer? More details of what's included in the Campaigns of Death, as well as campaign generation rules, will be highlighted as we approach its release. Yes. The answer is yes to this. Is there a Divergent version of People of the Lantern campaign card? Probably not. Maybe there is, but usually People of the Lantern is the default. So you're probably going to get... This is how I assume. I can only assume that though you're always going to play any unnamed one would be the People of whatever core monster you get. So People of the Lantern's attached to Watcher. So then if you drew Gambler, you would get People of the Dreamkeeper. So there's probably blank campaign timelines associated with each core monster node. That's how I assume it would work. And then ways to add Node 4 monsters, yes. I'm assuming there will also be that. So, is the Nightmare Owl included in any of the new expansions? Blushing Owl is not currently within the scope of any current expansions announced. Yes, that's in Ringtail, I think is what it was said. With the status of Pathfinders, or what's the status of Pathfinders of Death, please? Pathfinders of Death are slated for a remastered Wave 2, estimated to be sent out Q1 of 2025. I have some really solid ideas for it. We won't be focusing full team attention on this until the remastered Wave Dev 2 cycle. I don't even know what the only thing I remember, the only thing I'm going to memorize is the one that's coming next. As far as all the other ones, we'll see what happens with all those. How are UK and EU deliveries going? This was explained in the beginning. So, can you give us insight on the Super Survivors? The ideas we have for Super Survivors have been a light-hearted change of pace compared to what usually occupies our desks. But more attention will not be directed at these until their dedicated dev cycle. I don't even remember when those were on the dev cycle. I know there were some that were left out by mistake. I think that was actually Silver City was left out, or one of them was left out. I remember it might have been Super Saviors, but there was a comment clarifying it. But probably way far away. I'd like to hear more about the Griffin expansion and Dead Armor. There'll be more dedicated news on the Griffin expansion as it gets closer to production. The Dead Armor is currently shaping up to occupy a very different niche in comparison to the Green Armor, our other ultimate armor, our ultimate weapon armor. We also depend less on specific resources in comparison to the Green Armor and much more details. I'm pretty sure this was mentioned once before. I think isn't it supposed to be like the ultimate bone armor is what Dead Armor is now. So probably gonna be like Giggling Scythe, where you just need like tons and tons and tons and tons of bone to make like the whole thing, and it's like the ultimate bone armor, I think is what it was stated at. I would assume it's probably also going to use seed patterns as well. Would you consider doing a little box of basing terrain bits? $25, $50 in cost. Just all plastic basing bits, nothing else. Love scatter bits like Better Things Minis Pain Death. It's not on the docket right now, but I can definitely see what our sculpting team thinks. Yeah, those are called all of the narrative bits that are in the core game, because those narrative size minis are not used anymore. That's what the basic terrain kit is. The scale has increased. Are these sim-only Indomitable Survivors stinging away coming to Campaigns of Death? No. So, yep, we got the answer to that. Morg and Kale are probably coming. Well, Morg is now out, and then Kale's probably coming. Second part is probably a pipe dream. But is there any way you'd consider taking on assets IP from Relic Knights games? Arouse focus on Kickstarter promises. I know they did fulfill that one Twilight Knight, but it seems like a whole ordeal having to license IP and stuff. If you ever considered offering a fancy settlement binder, we can keep our campaign progress. It's worth considering. We'll look into it. Yeah, binders. I use binders for gear only. But yeah. It's a way of doing it. This is the Dark Treasury thing. So this questions about like VAT and shipping and stuff, but and actual costs, but it's handled with Dark Treasury. We'll have to see how that goes out. I've heard it was actually working a little bit better from people. Again, I'm not in the Dark Treasury, but I know people who are. If you ever considered changing the Hunt event table into its own set of cards, it's been considered. Would be great. Having its own set of cards for the Hunt event deck would be great. Which expansions besides Campaigns of Death will include 5-year Lantern campaigns? Black Knight expansion features a 5-year Lantern campaign as well. So, I guess Pariah is only 3. That's why... Well, I guess the Red Witches one with Pariah is only 3, so I'm assuming that's why that wasn't mentioned here. So, I'm assuming that's a very specific thing. The fact that they asked about 5 years and Red Witches only pitched as 3. That's what I can assume. Is that why it was left out? Hopefully we don't lose our Red Witch campaign. Will the Screaming God include a 30-year campaign with the Parasite Queen as a finale? What will her be? The Parasite Queen is classified as a special finale monster. That means it replaces Gold Smoke Knight and stuff. Any information beyond that will have to wait for you to experience for yourself. It is interesting that you get a different finale, judging that that usually finale means finale, so you probably won't be able to fight the other finale, I'm assuming. So it will be very interesting as to how that's handled. I'm assuming that's why this question was asked. Regarding the Honeycomb Weaver, is it still planned to come with both the 10-year Node 1 and 100-year Node 3 miniatures like it was really advertised? Or is the Titan B replacing the Node 1 encounter and thus one of the 2 Honeycomb minis? After testing, we determined that it was a more enjoyable play experience to have the Titan B serve as exclusively a Node 1 quarry and the Honeycomb Weaver exclusively as a Node 3 quarry. Oh, Node 3 quarry. What did I say? Node 3 Nemesis? I meant Node 3 quarry. The only Node 3 Nemesis is Black Knight. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have said that. However, the Ancient Honeycomb Weaver features the expansion's Legendary Showdown, though. So that will be unlike Bullfrog Dog, because that's not legendary. Legendaries you can only fight once. So, interesting. Very much enjoyed Clenny Butcher. So this is a huge one, all about development proceeds, milestones. She's any opportunity for our most legacy monsters to see new coat of paint, or rather, between other major deliverables on the project timeline, is there a general consensus or cadence? I mean, you strive for when developing larger non-Kickstarter products concurrently, or is it not so formulaic and more contingent on a spark of joy or something like Kalenian to be fully realized and developed? Man, that is a sentence. Glad to hear you're enjoying Kalenian Butcher. Some ideas for a Kingsman vignette. Can't wait for them to eventually see the light of day. As for now, the Goat Smoke Knight, the Ivory Dragon expansion will depend upon its role. Yes, that was pitched. Love revisiting our older monsters in products such as Vignettes of Death, but development for these products generally occurs during lulls in Kickstarter dev cycles while we were waiting for one bottleneck or another. So work on them can be quite sporadic, which I'm assuming the next one is going to be the Nucleope, but you never know. When you say, on the engineering side, I want to continue moving armor kits to be more painter-friendly, which means crisp details and ensuring that its transition into plastic does not leave textured areas feeling faint, or meaning increasing the mini's scale again. Not in this case. Hopefully not in any case. You're increasing the mini scale again. Instead, I am referring to our aim to have the details in our sculpts be well-defined as possible. Yeah, hopefully not in any case will it get scaled up again. Can you explain what happened with the new rulebook on Frog Dog having pixelated images? This is kind of noticeable, not on all of them. I think some of the art you can notice it more so on than the other ones. And that was just explained. They're just not certain. I don't even know how that would have happened. I'm assuming they were just scaled up to fit the page, perhaps. But it doesn't sound like it. Who knows what happened? No one knows. What happened with the Specialer Gambler Second Face Pledge t-shirt? Yep. Exclusive Gambler t-shirt associated with the Gambler's Second Face Pledge was sent out alongside the Percival and Satan t-shirts in our most recent shipping wave. So there you go. Hopefully, if you were getting that from that pledge level, which I think was like Golden Lantern or something. No, I forget which one, that Gambler's level. Lots of thoughts around whether to glue the 3D terrain board, or partially or not. Seems to be based around 1, fear of dropping or having to reassemble, put away time for those who cannot leave the game set up, and 3, whether there will be terrain updates in the future. I think 3 is the key point. Can you comment on 3, please? I'll read the answer, but I can't confirm anything at the moment, including any timeline, as the showdown board itself was quite difficult and expensive to produce. However, I love the idea of 3D terrain, and I do hope we can make them a reality one day. So, yes, I've actually started gluing down my showdown board. I think, like, to say those are, like, 3 different things is kind of weird. But yeah, the put away time is 1. Yeah, that's it's not like a huge deal, but it's more of reassembly than put away. Fear of dropping or having to reassemble is the same as putting away. Like, right? If you're putting it away, that's when you're going to drop it. If you're using that box that they have, it's not like super great. The best thing you can do is to make it more solid. Now, I like the showdown board. I like the grids on it and everything, but it is gridded. There's like space in between, right? The best thing you could do would be make terrain an overlay, right? Just an overlay that fits in those holes. Mostly because there's a lot of moving with the terrain, right? For me personally, I don't even know if I would use the terrain in general, even if there was terrain, even if I had bought it. For some things I probably would, but there's just a lot of things that are just weird that you wouldn't really want to make terrain into anyway. Like, what are you going to do with the nightmare tree? The phoenix monsters constantly go back to it. You're not going to make it like the nightmare tree, or lonely tree. That's like too crazy big. You're not going to do that. So then you're just not making one, or you're making a flat decal so the phoenix can go on it really quick. Might as well just make acrylic tiles. Lots of board games use acrylic tiles or plastic tokens. I think you could do them pretty cleverly, especially with like the grass. I think for grass you could have it line. Let me see if I can do this on the camera. So say you have a grid like that, right? Then you have the 4 squares in the grid. Here's your 4 squares. On the outside is the only place where you would need the grass. And if you just made one wall, one wall, one wall, one wall for the grass, and the middle had nothing, you would then know where the minis are standing of these 4. And then if the monster came this way and stopped half on, half off, like this, you just remove this one wall. Just take the grass wall out, move the monster, and he stops halfway. Because most of the time, the minis are going to be in those 4 squares, because the point of the grass is for you to stand in it. So the minis are always going to be in one of the 4 squares that are the grass, and the monster's then going to come to them. So they're either going to come and only cover up 2, or they're going to come maybe cover up 3. But either way, they're always going to share the square. So even having like the square itself, a whole bunch of grass would be awkward, because then the monster would be like this. Like, you don't want that. So I think it's mostly just how would the terrain even, because taking out each square and all that stuff, it's a very, very interesting thing to even think about. That's personally why I've decided already to glue them down, because even if they were replacing terrain squares and stuff, that's a lot of work, and a lot of them only are there for one. So like, for instance, vermin tile, right? The bug patch, the bug spot, the vermin one, you're usually going to grab that right away, because of vermin obsession, stuff like that. Something's going to draw you over there. You're going to remove it like right away. So why even put a whole tile down? I think even if I had bought a whole core set of 3D terrain and all that, I think I would still use some cardboard tokens for things like Ore Patch, Survivor Corpse. We have a Survivor Corpse that was just in Gambler's Chest. We got one. You can just use that mini to represent your Survivor Corpse. Debris, dead monster that start next to the monster. Like, things like those things are just something I'm going to scavenge right away. Or even like the lake with the croc. You don't want to make it too recessed, but the croc has to fit in it. You need to know where the center tile is all the time. So there's so many things I would probably just still use cardboard tokens for. The columns and stuff would be neat. So if I were to suggest making the 3D, maybe don't make everything 3D. Maybe make some plastic tiles like other board games has, acrylic tokens, plastic tokens, and then just some of that other stuff. But that's really why I glued it. So there you go. I think that was more of the question. It's not so, will you make it? It's more so, how would you have approached making it? If you were going to do it, how were you going to do it? That's a better way. But is the Woe Phoenix that was originally going to be in the Gambler's Chefs going to be part of Campaigns of Death? No. After testing, we determined that the Woe Phoenix was too different of an experiment from the campaign we were trying to deliver with the people of the Dreamkeeper, and decided to supplement the monster with new systems such as Indomitable Resources. The Woe Phoenix may make a return one day, but it is not currently slated for any existing releases. Interesting. Is the Ancient Gorm, so quotes here, Ancient Gorm was in quotes. This one I've gotten some clarification on what was probably being answered, so I'm going to talk about this one, because this one was kind of confusing. Luckily, again, thank you, Taste, amazing, to get clarity on what was actually assumedly answered. Is the Ancient Gorm going to be a high-level variant of the Gorm added in Campaigns of Death, similar to how the Bull Frog Dog works in the Frog Dog expansion? So the Ancient Gorm is not slated for Campaigns of Death Volume 1. That product is already stuffed to the gills as is. So I can only assume this person was talking about one. There's multiple things it could be talking about. One, the Ancient Gorm already exists. The Ancient Gorm is just a level 3 Gorm. That is the Ancient Gorm. Now, to put it in quotes means they were talking something other than the level 3 version of Gorm. So I'm assuming they were talking about the Ancient Gorm that was teased in the 22 Black Friday of 22, which showed a model of the Ancient Gorm. Now, the mini itself, if this answer here, the Ancient Gorm is not slated for Campaigns of Death Volume 1, that product's already... This is assuming the mini is what I think Taste had clarified that Poots was probably answering about that mini from the Black Friday that was shown. But I think what was being asked here is Ancient Gorm being the one that was from the 2023 Campaigns of Death, or 2023 Black Friday Campaigns of Death overview, to which Eve, the 5-year Lantern campaign, ends with the showdown with an Ancient Gorm where she needs to reach the tar pits. Is that Ancient Gorm going to be a variant, kind of like how... Is it going to be different somehow? That Ancient Gorm that's in the 5-year Lantern campaign that you could then use as something like the Bullfrog Dog? I think that's more what the question was about, but who knows? Either way, probably not likely is the answer to probably on both fronts. Probably the Ancient Gorm in the 5-year campaign is just referring to a level 3 Gorm. That's what Taste made it clarified as. And then this is, the mini is not going to be in the Campaigns of Death, which is a shame. That looked like a sick mini. I loved its piercings and stuff. Is the Campaigns of Death going to have variants of the quarry monsters? The Infant Sunstalker is a variant of the Sunstalker included with Campaigns of Death. Other monsters like the Dung Beetle Baron and the Vocal Spiticules, or Spiticules, which is now Wise One, have evolved to become much more unique showdowns in comparison to their original quarries due to the roles they play within their respective campaigns. Sick. So, great. That's awesome. I think Verdant Lord is also not a variant of Flower Knight. This is pretty much confirmed. Doesn't mention Devil Slenderman, but, Devil Slenderman is one of those things you easily forget, right? Who was I talking about again? Devil Slenderman? Maybe that's not a variant of Slenderman? Who knows? Maybe it's a whole new thing. Any plans for new encounter sets on the way outside of expansions? It's not on our docket at the moment, but I'd love to. Yeah, encounters are sick. I'd love to have more, especially since Bone Eaters is the only one. It's hard to see the real strength of a system when you only have one example. So currently Bone Eaters and Luck. Nice systems. Would be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they have in store for them, for the systems as a whole. Totally looking forward to all the 4 Wanderers. They look totally sick. Whatever happened to the Twilight Cloak? I think they mean the Twilight Witch, not the Twilight Cloak itself. I think they mean the Twilight, not Twilight Witch, the Twilight, the one that was in the Lantern Festival, which was called like the Twilight, I forget what it was called. The Twilight Cloak is just what they wear. The one model I was really looking forward to painting and playing. Twilight Cloak was originally included as part of the Lantern Festival pitch due to the void fabric required to craft it. There is still a chance for this Twilight Cloak to appear again in the future, particularly if the Twilight Order or void fabric is involved. So, interesting. With White Speakers having blood magic and the upcoming Red Witches expansions in mind, are there concepts for spells? Blood magic gear for the survivors similar to other weapons. We have seen some blood weapons that the Pariah hands out, but more along the line of range spell attacks. What the Pariah hands out are simulacrums. They're just blood facades. They're simulacrums. White Speakers and survivors have various tools and techniques that are available to them that are spell-like in nature, but you will have to experience the expansion yourself to see how they play out narratively and mechanically. Will there be a White Speaker Wanderer / Twilight Knight? Maybe. I'm actually super excited for more Wanderers. I don't know if we're going to get them. I was really hoping, this was just a pipe dream, I guess, but hoping that the Wanderers would serve as ways for more white boxes to be released. But I guess Wanderers are pretty involved. But Aya Wanderer when? Aya is a huge one. Will there still be connection between Pariah and the Red Witch expansions gameplay-wise? Yes. I wish this would have definitively said the 3-year campaign. But I'm pretty sure definitively this will be the 3-year campaign. Which one it's in? It's going to be difficult. I would assume you put it in Pariah. Yeah, difficult. Maybe you put it in Red Witches. No, because you're probably going to need the Pariah deck. It's a difficult spot because you could have just included Inverted Mountain, because Inverted Mountain's already says you're going to need both, but it's inverted. It's a difficult spot as to which expansion you actually include that in. But I wish it would have said definitively yes for the 3-year campaign. Will the campaigns of Death Box be the same size as the core box? If not, what will the dimensions be? Haven't received any proofing for the box yet, and can't say for sure, but it's shaping up to be a package of similar scale to the core game / GCE. So, that's it for the update. Now, there was a huge actual update that I want to get to. I know this has been pretty long for just an update read, but there was a ton of questions and answers there. But if you go and look, Dead Again here this is a errata for Gambler's Chest Deadism. This is a huge errata. You can see it was updated 6 days ago. Now, I've asked about this. This will find its way into the Legendary card pack. This is a change being made for the next printing of Gambler's Chest. I don't know if Gambler's Chest has sold out, but there will be new printings of Gambler's Chest. I'm assuming the errata for the outskirts. And now this. Dead Again. This is a huge, 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 huge change. Dead Again as it was, or as it currently is, because the only way you would ever know about this errata is if you went to the Living Glossary and looked up something. This is a huge change because Dead Again could go infinite. Insane ability as it currently was. I had no idea why. I think I talked about this in my Game of Chess review. I had no idea why that ability even existed in the way that it was. You could just... You pretty much you could trigger your death principle, and then you would just get +1 population. So if you just found ways of killing yourself, you could just get infinite resources, infinite endeavors. When you had Graves and Cannibalism together, it was insane. So glad that this was patched. Now it's an ability. When you die, do not gain the benefits of your death principle. Instead, gain +1 population. So I know the instead usually means instead of when you die, but it means instead of when you would gain your death principle. So it's instead of that. This new survivor adopts the deadism philosophy, gains Dead Again, and has your name. Huge change. Amazing change. Don't know why Dead Again existed without this. Old Dead Again used to say an ability, when you die, gain +1 population. This new survivor adopts deadism philosophy, gains Dead Again, and has your name. That's what it used to say. So this patch... It's huge. Great errata. So glad that this happened. So, that is the end of the update. There was, shop update and stuff as well. There was a new beta. Lots of new stuff. I'll talk about all that once I get to see all the cards, as I normally do. So, thank you so much for watching. and I'll see you in the next video.